A day to remember. I lost the trial. How to die on August 29th. August 29th. A storm to remember. How to wipe out a city in one day. No fair. It's not right. The devil is a storm. Katrina gets his way. Demar is lost. Get away. The story of moving to a new city. Bad times and hard times. Hell is full of water.
We always was tight. Rudy always lived with us. Taffy always lived with us. And if my brothers and them, they need somewhere to live, they'll come live with us. We always was tight. All of us always was tight. My oldest sister, she always had her own house. And my oldest brother always, but everybody else, we was just jammed. We had 14 people living in a 3-bedroom one time, so we all always was tight. You fight one of us, you had to fight all us. Yeah.
The water came in our house, so we had to move somewhere else.
All of us. We never been out of town for any. My auntie was up here in California. Her brother about 10 years ago. She stood 4 months up here. But the rest of us ain't never been nowhere. We all been right there in New Orleans. Now we're 500,000 miles away around the country. Everybody like, when y'all coming back? We don't have nothing to go back to. We don't even have no Ken people down there no more.
And I said, well, by me living in a two-storage house, why don't we just go to my house? 11 of us ended up at my house. So we got all the food, everything we could possibly get, just to, try to gather up things and keep from being hungry, making sure everybody was okay. Because it was just like a small lumina and 11 people. It was impossible. And me, I was not going to leave nobody behind.
People used to see them every day, you just can't see them no more. The only thing I have is my family. And, and right now, that's all I'm worried about. Because my girl ain't never seen nothing like that in their life. And to see the expression on their face on that day, it was really hard for me. And by me being a man, and I was what, 27 years old? I'm young, I'm considered as a young man, but not a man that ever went through that to know what to really do, but I done heard about the ones before and how to prepare for them. But I think I did a good job of saving my family.
We rushing back to Chalmette. I had already dropped my brother off with his family. Made another trip to go get my mama. So as we rushing back to Chalmette, my nerves was so bad because I could see the clouds, the wind, everything. The car putting. They had these guys out there like four, like the little Army Reserve guys, well, you need a driver's license to get in here stating that you have an address. I said, what I do? I said, I have my mom up here. I said, she's sick. I said, but I can't show you my driver's license. I gave him the driver's license. He said, yeah, you bringing all these people down to your house. You need to try to get them out the city. I said, well, some of us just not fortunate enough to leave out the city. And I said, what's the big deal? We trying to survive. Yeah, because you're going to be in 20 to 25 feet of water. I said, how could you be so assured of that? And I pulled off, thinking nothing of it. But evidently he knew something because we was in 23 and a half feet of water.
And that Monday morning, the water started rising up. It started coming in the house.
I got up early enough to start cooking a big breakfast. So I put the steaks on, the grits, the scrambled eggs, and we was about to just eat. The lights went out, and I said, oh no, I can't believe this. I'm almost finished cooking, but the lights going out. So I went upstairs and tried to use the phone because the cordless phone hadn't went out, but I always kept an extra phone just in case the lights go out. And she said, call my cousin, see your lights out. She said, oh yeah. She said, but I'm so scared, I don't know what to do. I said, the only thing we can do right now is pray. I said, but we gonna be all right. We in 2 different houses. She kept saying, I'm scared, I'm scared. I said, and so am I. I said, but you gotta be strong. You know, I said, because only the strong survive.
I like have the dream like I say about 2 times a week. I be having dreams that I be on the roof by myself, surrounded by water, and I can't see nothing but like the rooftops of people's houses. Nobody's around. Like the sun about to go down, and it's hot as hell, and I just be up there by myself, and I'm just looking around, just steady looking around, and then that's when I just wake up, and I be sweating.
If we would have had a bigger car, or something to evacuate, we probably could have got out.
Tisha and them knew the storm. I mean, she knew the storm was going to be bad. She should have came up there on Earth Street. We all would have been in that one house. And we wouldn't have been, wondering where each other was. We talked to them that morning. Tisha said, oh, girl, we up in here eating and having a good time. I said, for real? Next thing Tisha said, girl, they got water coming in my house. We didn't hear from them no more. We tried to call them. All the phones went there. I said, well, where's these people at? A couple of days went by. Nobody. I'm like, I don't know what happened. This don't sound right.
So by the time 8 o'clock came, nothing still ain't happened. Just the lights was out and it was raining. But you could see as we had like on our back, they had a mall that was right behind us, like a little shopping mall. The little air conditioned vents, central air vents, they was floating down the alley, and we was like, we got everybody up then. We wasn't panicking. We tried to keep my girl and her mama because we had a 65-year-old lady with us. Try to keep them calm, collective. So by the time you know it, it's like 12 o'clock in the afternoon. The water's in the house now. It's at least 3.5 to 4 feet. Ain't no way we could really get out of there now.
My mama hollered, she said, Tisha. I said, yes. She said, I got my feet wet. I said, but how your feet get wet? And like this is the door and the sofa was way over. That's how your feet get wet. When I looked downstairs, I said, oh, that's just water came in the house, but I can mop it up because it had started raining. And by the time I mopped it out, wringed it up and everything, went back again, more water coming in. The water started rising so fast. The only thing I can do is grab my mom. We all had to get together because she was very, very heavy. We all had to get together and just like drag her up the stairs to keep her from getting wet. By the time we went and put her up the stairs, I had just bought a screen TV. I said, oh no, I want my TV. I just spent my last money on this television. I want my television. Try to put the television upstairs. We made it upstairs with the television. By the time we made it upstairs with the television, you just hear stuff in the kitchen going, boom. I said, and what is that? The refrigerator. Everything just started floating. I said, this is impossible. There's no way this water can come in the house this fast. I said, oh no, something ain't right here. But you could see the rain coming. And when I say that water came in that house so fast, furniture flying everywhere, we didn't even have enough time to try to just grab no food, no nothing. That's how fast the water was going. But you could just, like, boom, everything just going boom, stuff just falling all over. I said, you know what, everybody just head upstairs. Whatever you can get it. If not, you gotta go.
We had 17 stairs to lead before you get to the second floor in our house. We counted them. My girlfriend sat on the end of the stairs. She steady counting. She crying. The kids crying, saying they don't want to die. I'm like, I'm not going to let y'all die. Saying I'm going to come up with a master plan. But we moved everything that, like I said, that we needed upstairs.
We were sitting down there on the bed and the water rise up. Like the TV, they brought the big TV upstairs. And the water still rise and rise.
So when the water finally came upstairs, it came waist high. So I was praying, and I was like, Lord, please don't let the water come high, no higher. So, because we have a 65-year-old lady, I said, I ain't going to panic because I never been in this experience, just helped me through it, you know what I'm saying? So I thought about it. We tried to hit a hole through the roof. It wouldn't work. Next thing came to my mind, we stayed in a fourplex. So we bust a hole through the wall, me and him putting our body between the studs in the wall, popping them so we could actually get through to the next apartment, to the front. So we could see if somebody riding on boat so we could let them know we have civilians in the house. So finally that worked out for us, thank the Lord, because the faster we was moving, because the water was steady rising. But we didn't know how high the water was going to go, you know what I'm saying? So we steady just busting through the wall trying to get to the first apartment because we stayed on the end apartment. We was using the hammer.
So he like, what are you going to do? I said, we can't do nothing. We don't have no way out. The whole downstairs gone. Number of water. So now we all living upstairs in this old funky, filthy water. Children crying. My baby was like, Mama, what we going to do, Mama? We going to drown. I said, all of us going to drown. If this water keep coming the way it's coming, we don't have no way out. No way. When I said I cried, I prayed. James said, you know what? The only thing that's going to work for all 11 of us now is prayers. We got to get here and pray. Got there, we started praying. We prayed. We actually got out the window, tying rags around a ruler, flagging people, hitting stuff, letting them know that we trapped in here. Please help us out. I had my little niece all in the window. I was like, please help this baby. This baby hungry. We have no way out.
It was heartbreaking because it was like they was doing racist stuff and all that. Or they just kept having all the white people on the boats. They just kept passing the black people and taking all the white people on the boats.
You know, we was just trapped up in there for hours and people just passing us by like we was on a Mardi Gras float waving at us, you know. But they finally had this lady pass by late that evening. And she was like, how many people are in there? I said, 11 of us. Please take at least some of us. I'm willing to stay here. So my baby Rashad was like, Mama, you go. You go. You take Grandma and take the small children. All the females, y'all just go. So we all got in the boat. And she was like, I'll go back and get the rest of your family. I said, oh, miss, please don't leave my family behind. I said, because they're going to drown in that house. That's what I'm telling them. She said, I promise. I'll go back and get them. So it was so bad out there, too. When we was in a rescue boat, we was on top of people's houses just floating, not even knowing where we was at. So she said, well, let's try to bring them over here because they have shelter over here by the courthouse. So they brought us to the courthouse and everything, full of water. But I waited at the courthouse all night.
Then they took us to the jailhouse.
They was treating us like, you know, feed the refugees. And I asked the lady, I said, could you please give my mama an insulin shot? I said, you're supposed to be the nurse that's on site over here. I said, my mama really need medical attention. And she said, well, where's her medicine? I said, well, the medicine went out the boat when she tried to get in the boat and we got rescued. She told me, ain't none of my problem. What you want me to do? That's what's wrong with you refugees. Now, you can't offer you any help. I said, first of all, I'm a U.S. citizen. I am not a refugee.
We sat up in there and the people treating us bad, like we was really prisoners and stuff.
We was helpless. You know, everybody was just helpless. So a lot of people that was doing things that they shouldn't have been doing, I kind of like feel where they was coming from.
They told us to walk all the way down, like 5 blocks down to the boat.
The water was stacked so high, like on side of the train tracks, and if we would have slipped off, we would have fell in the water. We caught a ferry to cross the river, and after we got across the river, we took these buses to Baton Rouge.
We had no beds, no cots, and we slept on the floor. So once we slept on the floor, it was real hard for me to get up and get my mom up. But at the same time, I still didn't have my child. I still didn't have my brother. I had my boyfriend.
We don't know where they was taking them, so they like, we gonna come back for y'all because we don't want nobody separated. We wind up staying in the house overnight. Everybody gets separated, confused. So I have my stepson, the oldest, named Rashad. They ain't never came back to save us, so we just sit in the house. We don't know what to do. It's dark. We don't have no lights, no nothing. Everything is just messed up. It's cold. We soaking wet. And my kids rarely went to panicking, but by us being two adults, we trying to keep them cool. We trying to rib, keep them happy, do whatever. But it's just like they want their parents now. You know where their mom at. They took their parents away and talking about they coming back and get us. They never came back.
Well, I slept on my mom's dresser.
Then we was calling them. They was calling. We were like, help. They were like, stay your ass back there. We come get you tomorrow. And then we had to stay there. And they came got us and brought us on top of the bank.
We stayed up in there, like I said, 4 to 5 days. On the 6th day, they say the boats was coming to rescue us. Say 60 National Guard boats was going to be arriving in New Orleans, Louisiana, and Chalmette, the parishes that was hit hard. We waiting, ain't no boats never showed up. We like, where the 60 National Guard boats at? No 60 National Guard boats ever showed up. They went to using private boats, trying to make it seem like it was the National Guard boats with polices on there. But that's Chalmette, that's our parish polices. I see these people every day patrolling our neighborhood. That's not the National Guard, and we using 2 boats trying to empty a whole bank out.
I had all that. I had everything. I had all that. You know, I had a job. I had everything. So. And that song just came along and took it all.
I had changed my life because I don't know none of my old friends no more. I have a new life. You know, it changed my life a lot because I wasn't working. I wasn't doing nothing for myself. You know, so it changed my life a lot. I wasn't working. I wasn't doing nothing but just running the streets. You know, so I'm just thank God because I probably been in jail a day now. So I'm just thank God to be here.
We walked the whole area across there looking for my girlfriend. We never seen her, me and my stepson. We like panicking because we don't know if they made it or they brought him over already and they shipped him somewhere. So everybody's just trying to find out where everybody gone at. I'm saying buku of my friends, but I can't just leave because I have my stepson with me. And we got to find my girlfriend, you know. I can't just leave out here like that. I'm the only one who had a little change on me, so I had to, it was mandatory for me to get to them. The bus dropped us off in Houston. We look around, we walk the area, try to see who we could find and see who was in there. Like I said, we saw a lot of family friends, but we never saw the ones that we was really looking for. It was my girlfriend and my other 2 stepkids.
Yes. Yeah, I saved her. Because she would have stood in that house, she would have died.
When Rochelle came, she said, well, what happened to your face? What happened to you? I said, Rochelle, I've been in this house since last Sunday by myself. She said, well, why you didn't leave? I said, my leg, I can't put my leg in that water. And that water was so high. And had everything in that water.
But she would have stood there, she would have died. She wasn't eating or nothing. And then really sick, and she didn't know she was sick. She got up here. She was a diabetic, that's why her leg never healed on her, nothing. And now her leg's looking good and everything. So yeah, you can say I saved her. And she wanted some ice cold water. You know she like ice. And this how I got on the boat. I said, oh, girl, they got some cold water around now. I mean, that water good. I said, girl, then they got them little ice. They do? They do? I said, yeah. Ooh, let me get out this house. That's how I got her. With ice. She like ice. And she ain't had ice in a week. So that's how I got out the house.
But first, when the man knocked on the door, I thought it was Rochelle playing with me. I was like, what Rochelle? Rochelle say? He said, no. He said, you have to leave. He said, you can't stay in here by yourself. He said, because you don't know your light's not coming on for 3 months. I'm like, 3 months? No. He said, yeah, your light's going to be 3 months before you come on. I'm like, so I started crying. I tell him, no, I don't want to leave. He said, I said, but I can't walk in the water. He said, you ain't got to walk in the water. A boat going to come get you. And I showed him my leg. He was like, oh, okay. So he put me on the boat. And we got the big boat on all around Desire Street. And there was a big boat. And we passed houses that we know that, you know, we, like around Panther Street, we know people around it. The houses, all you could see was the roof. And it was like, so-and-so live here, and you know. And I couldn't believe this. And I was like, more tears. I must have cried a river. More tears just kept coming down. I would just cry. Because I couldn't stop, because it was just hurting, you know.
My intentions, to be honest with you, was to just walk off and just leave everything. I was going to just walk up government. I was like, I lost everything I had. The only thing I'm thankful that I'm still here. I got life. I got my kids, and I'm sure that my other kids is living. But I was so stressed out. I didn't know who I was, and I didn't have no shoes on my feet. I just needed to get away from everything, nowhere to go, a whole different place, and I just couldn't take the pressure no more. I started to just walk away and not come back, but when I thought about it, I was leaving my family behind, and I knew it wasn't the right thing to do. So I had to go back to the shelter and just deal with reality. And that's what I did.
I got up here, I got on welfare and got my food stamp and looked for me a job. And I ain't do no crack since August 29th last year. I just quit on my own. I ain't go no detail, I just quit. I got up here, just started being inside, eating. You could tell I'm eating. And that's all I did. You know, I just said I wasn't messing with it no more. Took 5 years of my life, so I ain't messing with it no more. I just quit. People talking about rehab. I don't want no rehab and all that. I eat myself through life.
Every day I wake up, I'm like 2,400 miles away from home. Don't know nobody, don't know who to trust. Trying to just get my feet back under me.
And if I pack up and go back there, I'm still gonna be struggling. You understand what I'm saying? So it don't make sense.
This guy in the shelter in a jail facility back there where I was at, he told me, he said, hold his phone for me. I said, okay. And I grabbed my purse and I put it in my phone. But when I got to the shelter, I went to the bottom of the purse to see if I could find some change. And I found the phone. I was like, where did this phone come from? So when I put the phone together, it was a brand new phone. I said, oh, this phone work. Who can I call? So when I pick up the phone, for some reason, my sister's husband's phone number came across my mind. I said, you know what, I'm about to call this number. I dialed the number. He was like, hello. I said, Stacy? He said, oh, yeah, Tish, where y'all at? Where y'all at? I said, Stacy, I don't know what's going on. I said, I'm in Baton Rouge. He said, oh, Tish, I'm in Baton Rouge. He said, where are you now? I said, you know what, Stacy, I'm out of my mind. I'm just walking up the street. I don't know where I'm at. I don't know where I'm going. And he said, stop and think about what you're doing, Tish. And I told him, I said, well, right now I'm on Government Street. He said, on Government? He said, I'm on Government. He said, Tish, whatever you do, because you couldn't park, you couldn't drive no cars, and they had blocked all that off. He said, whatever you do, he said, I'm about to park. He said, I'm about to park in this place right here, but I'm going to walk until I see you. He walked, we walked. When I saw him, I just broke down.
I have nightmares. I have nightmares. I be up at 3 o'clock in the morning every morning. I just can't sleep. You know, like if I'm sleeping, I think about what I used to could do. Now I can't do it. I'm like, well, at least when I was working, I did have a paycheck. I didn't have to depend, you know. But you know, to say I'm not working is still fair out good. But I just feel I don't want to be in the house while I'm, like I mean, not working. But I just thank God that we live in, people's dying all around me. It's all around me. And when Rochelle came and found me in the house by myself, she was like, Rolly, what you doing here by yourself? I said, girl, I cannot walk in that water. She said, well, I'm going to stay with you. But come to find out, she went and got the man to come get me out the house. Yeah, because Rochelle said, we going to leave too. We left for a better life. Everybody got something better. Tisha have a good job. Everybody has something better. We living way better, but just have to get used to it. I don't know how many years it's going to take, but we just have to get used to it.
I got them because this is where I was born and raised at. Let people know where I'm from. I represent.
I blame the government and the mayor. Because they put them people out there to fix them levees and they didn't go back to check and see if they was fixed correctly. And anybody could tell you, as long as we had hurricanes and storm, and we had a lot of water, but we never had that much water with all these people dying. So I blame them for not going back and check up on the work. They claim they put out all these $1 million to get that levee fixed, but somebody lying.
I checked with the Red Cross lady on the 7th day. I gave her my girlfriend name again, Letitia Ann Morris. She said I know where she at.
Thank God I made it, 'cause it was horrible. Number water.
I lost my place I call home in Chalmette, Louisiana on August 29th, 2005. I lost my strength that I woke up early that morning with. I found that prayers do work. I lost trust in the city of Chalmette. I lost my brand new bedroom set. I found that there are good people in the world. I lost contact with my loved ones, especially my oldest son. I found all my family members and all of my loved ones. I lost the good spirit that the Lord woke me up with on the morning of August 29, 2005. I lost my beautiful motion picture. I found out where there's a will, there's a way. With all the birds and the sounds of the water. I found my box of jewelry from a real good friend of mine that went down there and searched that house for me. Picture. That was such a beautiful picture to me and my kids. I lost everything in my living room. I found out that you can do whatever you put your mind up to do. My refrigerator, my deep freezer. I lost my dinette set. I lost my car I had just bought. I found a better way of living my life. I lost everything I could have possibly worked hard for in just a matter of hours. I found that I love my family so much. I lost all the love and trust in the state of Louisiana. I found life after Hurricane Katrina.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch just like me. I once was lost, but now I am found. You know